What's going on, everyone? So the Houston Rockets signed Joshua Okogie, which brings in another versatile perimeter wing defender. Talk about guys 6'5", got like a 7-foot wingspan, can defend 1 through 3, on some occasions a 4, right? One of the better on-ball perimeter defenders in basketball. His shooting is an issue, right? Not a great shooter. He did shoot 38% from three-point range with the Phoenix Suns. So if he can kind of get back to that, that'd be great. But he went to Charlotte and was like 30%. Like the guy needs to work on his three-point shooting, right? And it is clear what the Houston Rockets are trying to lay their foundation and their identity on, and that's defense, right? They want to be the most versatile, dynamic, switchable defensive team in all of basketball and essentially smother you with waves of guys, right? Like you're going to have a unit out there and you're just getting swarmed, and then the next unit's going to come in and they're going to pick right up where the last unit left off, and they are just going to continue to swarm you. And look, that very well could work, but we've seen, yes, defense wins championships, but you still need to be able to score the basketball. And the biggest problem with Houston is I don't know if they're going to be able to score the basketball. Right? Last year, they were one of the best defense teams in all of basketball. Their problem wasn't more defense. The problem was offense. They don't have that balance, right? They're a team that's just very defensive heavy. They don't have a great shooting. They don't have their guys that are great defenders aren't great shooters. And they've added a bunch of more really good defensive, very good switchable wings, but a lot of guys that aren't good offensively. And yes, Kevin Durant is going to solve a lot of that. Don't get me wrong. Right? Especially those closer, tighter games, you're going to have Kevin Durant that you're going to be able to trust and rely on. However, Kevin Durant by himself, is he going to be enough to lead you to a championship? Right? Because now you're leaning heavily on Amin Thompson taking strides offensively, Şengün taking strides offensively, right? Like, yes, Kevin Durant, he's going to be incredible. You got to keep in mind, he's 37, right? If he misses any extensive time, like Houston's still going to be good, but is he going to be able for 16 games during the playoffs score enough points to win those games? Right? Houston's going to be good enough defensively to keep those games close, keep those games tight. Is Kevin Durant going to be able to, by himself, close those games to where you're going to be able to do that 16 times? I don't know. Maybe, right? But this kind of feels like they're adding more, right? It's like, how many more of that do you need? Right? Like at some point, it doesn't increase the ceiling, right? Like Joshua Okogie going to a team like the Warriors or a team like the Lakers or one of these teams that really need that defensive switchability and versatility, right? That raises the ceiling, right? Because it's like they're teams that lack that. They could use that. Boom, you add a guy that could do that, right? Okay, now that makes sense. It raises the ceiling. However much, slightly or heavily, doesn't matter, right? It raises the ceiling. But something like the Houston Rockets, adding a guy like Joshua Okogie, I don't really think changes anything. It's like having a bucket full of water, right? Like at some point the bucket overflows and it's like, okay, like now you're just wasting water. And that's kind of what it feels like with Houston. It's like, if you have a bucket full of water and a little drop drops into the bucket, it's not really changing the overall volume of the bucket. It's just slightly more water, right? Like, but you look at a team like the Lakers, who really could use perimeter defense, or, the Warriors that could use kind of that switchable, versatile wing, especially if they lose a Gary Payton II, right? Like, a team like that, it's like, now it's like a full faucet splash of water. It's like, oh, no, that actually changed the volume of the bucket, right? But for the Houston Rockets, I feel like it's just more of the same. And again, Houston has had an amazing offseason. I don't want to undersell Houston's offseason. And look, they very likely could be the best team in all of basketball, and they very likely could hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy at the end of the year. I think that's a really big possibility. I think if anyone's like, oh, they're not a contender, I think that's silly, right? They are absolutely a contender. I think they're going to be very good at the game of basketball. I worry about when you get to the playoffs. Regular season, they might end up being the 1 seed by a large margin. They might run through everybody during the regular season. But the playoffs and the regular season are not the same thing. Right? And you get into playoffs where you start playing, especially later rounds, where those teams are very good offensively. Those teams are also usually good defensively. And they just have better balance than a team like Houston. That's where the problem lies. Right? Like Houston ends up going and playing a team that, like Denver, right? Like Denver, I think, defensively, I do have some concerns, but their offense is going to be good enough to where they're still going to score on a team like Houston. They are. right? And I mean, look at OKC last year. Denver almost beat them and probably should have beat them, right? And I think Denver actually got better. I think Cam Johnson is actually a better, just kind of natural fit. I think the ceiling's higher with Michael Porter Jr., but I think Cameron Johnson is a better natural fit. And they're also able to bring Bruce Brown back, which he had his best season with Jokic in Denver, and then also brought in a Tim Hardaway Jr., right? And a Jonas Valanciunas, so they finally got a guy in a backup that can score when Jokic goes to the bench, right? So, like, I think that they've improved. But I think in the come playoff time, I'd probably take Denver over Houston. Because I just think Houston has better balance on both ends, and I don't think Houston's going to be able to score enough to keep up, right? Like, and again, we just kind of saw what Houston's trying to do with OKC, and Denver should have beaten them. And they did that hurt with like 4 players, right? Imagine what they do now. Right? And again, maybe Houston again runs through them. I don't know. We have to see what it looks like. But just looking at Houston, they had an amazing offseason. I don't want to undersell the offseason, but outside of Kevin Durant, they just kind of added to what they already had, right? It's like a luxury of rich, like, you know, it's like we have $1 billion and I'm just going to add another 1,000. It's like, that 1,000 really change anything? No, right? Like, you're a billionaire. Like, $1,000 isn't going to move the needle either way. Like, if you lose $1,000 tomorrow, you're not going to lose. Like, if they lose Josh Okogie tomorrow, right? Like, they're not going to be like, oh man, now Houston's cooked. That's it. Right? Like, you know, if they lose Dorian Finney-Smith next year, it's not going to be like, oh man, that's it. Houston's cooked. No, it's just, again, it's more of the same. The problem is you're leaning so heavily into Kevin Durant offensively, who has not been the healthiest. He's 37 years old. He's still the best isolation bucket getter in basketball. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, look at the success he's had on teams that he's had success on. They've had other scorers, right? Kyrie Irving, right? James Harden. Obviously, the Golden State Warriors, right? Like, where they had Steph and Clay and all that stuff, right? Because Kevin Durant wasn't solely responsible for all of the offense. Like, yes, he's going to be able to carry a lot of that burden, right? But is that going to be enough to put you over the top and beat some of these top-end teams, right? Is that enough for you to beat an OKC? Maybe, right? Like, you know, you have the perimeter defenders to throw at SGA, but SGA is probably still going to get his buckets, right? Better offense over better defense more often than not. But if you can slow down the other guys' stuff, right? Like, again, I don't want to undersell Houston. I think Houston's going to be very good. They might be the best team in basketball, and they might just blitz everybody and win the NBA championship. That's a very real possibility. But I just look at this team, and I'm like, they keep adding more of what they have. If they would have added a DeAnthony Melton, I'd probably be a little more higher because he can shoot the 3 ball, right? Gives you some defense, can knock down the 3, right? Or if they went and made a trade for a guy that, you know, is a bucket getter, right? Like, they could get somebody, you know, like a Mathurin or something like that. It's like, oh, now you got a guy that can self-create, that can score the basketball. Like, you're counting on Kevin Durant to be your sole shot creator, right? Like, that's not great. So, I don't know. I have my concerns about Houston. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.